I'm coming. In fact, hello. It's been a while, hasn't it? Haven't been on YouTube, streaming for a bit. Came home tonight. Have got some time, limited time. I will be wrapping this up before the midnight hour. I know that's always a request. Stay on till midnight. Tonight, probably can't. It might be close. Hello, everybody checking in. Let me know if everything looks and sounds okay. Amelia, you were first. Appreciate the comment. Jessica, this is a surprise? I know it's been a while, like I said. I'm croyed up, though. Got the croy. Rob telling me the score of the Giants game. Okay. Jordan Cordova, how about them A's? Now we're talking. They scored another touchdown tonight in Minnesota against the Twins. Got that series back to even. Good to see the A's get the bats out. Little late. Better late than never. But that's who they are. They're going to score a ton of runs. They've scored 7 runs now, 7 times in the month of August alone. 7 or more. Pretty content with that. Yeah, it has been a while, Christine. Been busy. Had vacation for a while. The A's schedule with a lot of home games doesn't give me the free late night hours. But now that they're out east, we're done a lot earlier, so I can do this. Greetings from Fresno. Rob, thanks for checking in, man. Just curious what everybody's take is on this. And you know what, actually? Give me a second here. Give me a second to tweet this out. I think if I promote this on Twitter live on YouTube now. There we go. And hit send. Okay. Sorry. Had to get that out there. Amelia, spotted you a few days ago while driving. If I'm honest, I recognized Melvin first and then you. Well, was Melvin in the back of an SUV? Because if that's what you saw, then you probably saw us. I only put Melvin in my wife's car because she has the SUV, and I can't do with all the dog hair in my car because, I have to go to work. I have to travel suits and stuff in there, and so that's why we got her the SUV, so that he could be in the back. He could make the mess that he wants to, needs to. Doesn't want to make a mess. He sheds. It's as simple as that. He sheds a lot. So, yeah. Oh, you saw us walking downtown. Okay, got it. Yep. Then you definitely saw us. If the A's were to play in a wild card game, how do you see things playing out? I'm glad you brought that up, Jordan, because all right, this is the trap playlist. I'm going to get away from the trap playlist. What is trap music, by the way? I think I know it when I hear it, but I don't know how to define it. If I had to explain it to somebody, I wouldn't know what the definition of it is. All right, trending pop playlist. Let's try that one. So I don't need singing here. Hey, come on now. I don't need singing. I just want some background music. Here's one called Dinner Time Jazz. So I think a lot of A's fans are still hurt by the wild card game of 2014. You know what? I'm going to chill on the music for a bit here. I still think that having those 3 leads against Kansas City in 2014 and then the way that game finished and the base hit that went through the left side and Donaldson dove for it and that close to keeping it in the infield. And that was like a 5-hour game, if I recall. I think the first thing we said on Postgame Live that night, Wild Card 2014, was you just watched 5 hours of baseball and you probably didn't like the ending. So I understand that there is that sentiment that lingers still of frustration with that, and sure, but the wild card wouldn't be the worst thing for the A's. Now, I'm just saying here, would I prefer the division? Absolutely. Would I prefer to start in a series? Would I prefer to not have to throw a pitcher out there for one game, your best pitcher, to try and just get through that one game to get to the series? Of course. I'd rather win the West, no doubt. But I think that the wild card, as bad as the wild card situation could be, I think A's fans have it in their head that it's like the worst case scenario. When if I told you, it's back in spring training, if I said, hey, the A's are going to play in a wild card game, they're going to be in the playoffs this year, you would have went nuts, right? Now, the last couple months, specifically the last 2.5 months, have totally changed all of our perspectives on this, and rightfully so, because there's a great article on 538 that came out today explaining why the A's are not a fluke. It's awesome because I'm fully into that. I mean, they've been doing this long enough. They have their calling cards that are not changing and going away. And yes, there are ups and downs, but that's the case with any baseball team. Mostly ups, though. So long story short, what would a wild card game look like? Or how do I see things playing out? I think that was the question. Couldn't be worse than last time, right? Last time was pretty much the worst case scenario. Getting beat in the late innings of a game you had 3 different leads with. That's the way it is. That's the way it was, and it can't get worse than that. So I don't want, if the A's are in a wild card situation, I don't want anybody to go back and remember that and fear what is about to come. That's not a great way of looking at it. Think about all the things that have gone right for Oakland this year. Just punch your ticket. Get into the second season. To me, that's the biggest part right now. I'll take that as the minimum. If that's the minimum of what we're going to get, then fine. Again, I'd for clarification, I'd rather have the West. But if you take your take what you're given and run with it, I still think they can do fine. I really do. Christine says, was just hoping for a above 500 year. This season has been amazing. I totally agree. And that's, look, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, yeah, it's a success right now. Game, 129 was played tonight. That's not the way it is. It's not over yet. It's not nearly over yet. So much still to accomplish, and the guys have got this close. Why would you not want to finish it off? I'm just saying that if that's ultimately how it ends, I'm not going to be mad at that. I'm going to be excited if they win the West, but I'm not going to be mad if it's only a wild card. Vineet here saying, Vlasic not on the top 20 defensemen on the NHL Network's list. Oh, because Jessica said, what are your opinions on those top 20 centers list that came out recently? Let me touch on Sharks here real fast, and then I want to get back to the A's. The NHL top 20 list that they've been putting out, I'm not sure how they were devised. I'm not sure who had the input on that. The fact that they're not attributing it to names, like this is so-and-so's top 20 list. I'm not here to knock it. This is what we do in the television business. We like to invent a lot of different things. It just it seemed to omit a lot of Sharks specifically, not just West Coast players, but Sharks specifically. So, hey, you know what? Make your list. It's kind of like how Joe Thornton wasn't one of the top 100 NHL players of all time. All right, pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous. So. As for that list, as for those top 20 lists, I won't be thinking much of it in hopefully April, May, and June of 2019. All right, back to the A's. A's-Yankees series will be a playoff preview in a couple weeks. Possibly. Very, very possibly. Who knows? Right now, obviously, they're holding the top wild card spot in the American League, and if you're the Yankees, they want to win the East. Just like the A's want to win the West. Easier said than done, I think, for them. I think the A's have... It's a great question. Do the A's have a better chance of taking the division? Or how about the Yankees catching up and overtaking the East? In fact, let's go take a look at the standings. It's a good question. I haven't seen this in a while. So the Yankees are, 8.5 games back. Never mind. The A's have a much better chance. I thought it was closer. I really did. And I guess I haven't paid attention specifically. I know the Yankees have slipped a little bit. And actually, the Red Sox are only 5-5 in their last 10. The Rays are the hottest team in the East right now, and the Rays are coming up on the A's schedule. And that's another thing. If you look at the A's schedule here in the last 30-plus games, to me, I'm not chalking up wins and losses already. I will not do that. But I will look at it and say, beneficial here if the A's can take advantage of the Twins in the 2 remaining games. If they can take advantage of the Baltimore series. Teams that are struggling. Tampa Bay, the A's also have Tampa Bay. Clearly, that's not going to be an easy one. Not to mention they do have the Yankees still. Done with the Red Sox, but still have the Yankees. Who would you start in a wild card game? I think that's a question that you have to answer mid to late September. If we're trying to answer that question right now here on August 24th, we're not going to get it right. I mean, if the game were tomorrow or Monday, I would be compelled to start Fiers. I really would. And that's not a knock against Edwin Jackson or Cahill or Anderson or Manaea, specifically Manaea. He's been their workhorse, their ace all season long. But I feel like Fiers might be the most equipped for that. And then it sets you up to start maybe an Edwin Jackson or a Sean Manaea in game 1. Right? So it's nice to have those options. It's nice to not have a clear-cut thing that that you're married into, that you have to do, that a starter that has to go in the wild card game and that has to start game 1 of your divisional series. Right? And again, I think we really need to see how September plays out. If Manaea has a monster month, and, I think tonight he was good. Only got through 67 pitches, but, that's the nature of the A's new way of doing things and using the bullpen. I think if you see another resurgence in Manaea, it'd be hard not to offer him that opportunity. And look, you have reinforcements. If you need to bring somebody else in, they're ready for you. I'm talking about the deepest bullpen probably in baseball. Rob says I'd go with Mike Fiers to start the wild card game. Again, this is us answering this question on August 24th, when in reality, it shouldn't be thought of until maybe September 20th. And yes, you do have to plan for it. You have to make sure your rotation is equipped so that your guy times out for either a wild card game or game 1 of the ALDS. What is this music, by the way? Whatever happened to, just beats? All I want's beats. Here's a playlist called Work That Body. It's like a workout playlist. So it's this comes from a music service that I use for YouTube. And fortunately enough, they have it all available on Apple Music too, so I can just play it in the background here while I'm live. Are there lyrics in this one too? Maybe. Let's see here. What other comments are there that I can... Are the A's still looking for a left fielder, or are they going to stick with Noodles? Was Noodles Laureano, by the way? Or... Because... No, wait a second. No, who was Noodles? I saw that briefly. Because I can't remember what Laureano's was. I think I had it here on my Twitter. See Sweet Lou. That's Trevino. I see Chappie. That's obvious. The Annihilator. Oh, there's Noodles. Is it 22? It is. How did Laureano get to be Noodles? I need to know the story on that now. Jessica signing off. All right, well, I'll try and make you proud, Jessica, and I will go close to midnight. Maybe I won't get to midnight. You know, I have a TV on, or I have a TV in here in the studio, and I don't have it on right now. Am I missing something? Am I missing something in the Raiders preseason game? Am I missing the Giants losing? What am I missing? And I'm not hating on the Giants, by the way. There's a lot of A's fans here. That's all. And there's enough people that root for the Giants. Simple as that. The Raiders are traitors, in my opinion. Yeah, you know, let me comment on that real fast. It's like disappointing, isn't it? Like, I don't even want to comment on this actually, but I have to, I feel like it's been brought up in a sense that, like, they're already digging the new stadium. They're already, like, putting it up on the south side of the Strip in Vegas. They are so gone. I don't even, like, what's this? To me, and if you're a Raider fan, I hope you agree with this. To me, that this season, are they going to play there again next season too? Like, this is all about getting your kind of last swings, right? Going to the games at the Coliseum for the last couple times, tailgating for the last few times. Like, what? I don't know. If somebody said they were leaving me, I don't know that I'd want to hang out with them a lot more. Yeah, I mean, but again, everybody has a different connection to it, and I won't necessarily say my viewpoint is the right one or the only one. It's definitely not the only one. So it's just confusing. It's unconventional, and because of that, it's super confusing. Jacob, can you get a shout out? Jacob, you just got shouted out here on YouTube. What about soccer? Alex, thank you for asking that. So, I can already tell this year I'm not going to watch as much football as I once did. I'm not. I don't have the time. Quite frankly, I'm just not as interested in it anymore. I'm trying to broaden the palette, broaden the sports horizon. And to your point, Alex, I'm getting to this. Soccer, I've been watching, I've just turned it on the weekends, the EPL on NBC, and I do not wake up early enough to watch the start of those matches. But I do like seeing the later ones. I like catching up with the recap shows. I don't have enough time to be thoroughly invested, like the A's or Sharks. Like, I am so drenched in it that, you know, it's my job, but I don't know that I'll ever be that level with soccer or the EPL specifically, or maybe even MLS. But I'm doing my best right now to gain a better appreciation of soccer. I know the sport. I mean, as well as the average American can. It's not a matter of learning the sport for me. I get that part. It's trying to be current. Storylines, trends, teams, clubs, I should say. Stuff like that. So, staying up to date. Jay Weezy, the late night streams. Yes, the late night streams. For some reason, this studio gets incredibly warm. Like, it hasn't been a warm day. Is it the lights? There are a lot of lights in here. I guess I don't, and they're all LED lights, so I don't feel like they should be causing a lot of heat. But no, they definitely are, because it was not that warm in here when I got in. And I'm cooling down with the Croy, as you guys can tell, every 5 seconds. Jacob wondering, do you think the A's will win the World Series? Well, if you're Fernando Rodney, that's what you predicted yesterday. Hey, you know what? This season has been so magical already. Kind of lets it kind of enables your mind to go there, right? And we've seen We've seen stranger things before, haven't we? In baseball and sports. So, how about this? Let the music hit and then the point. Ready? This will really drive it home. Feeling that? You feeling that bass? Anybody have like subwoofers that are cranked way up? I don't even know if YouTube bumps like that. I'm not going to say no. A lot of times I would sit here and I would say, hey, Jacob. I would say, Jacob, be real about this. Not going to happen. I'm not saying that. Not promising you that it will happen, but there's just an air of something really special happening there. I don't know how far it's going to go. I really don't. I can't wait to find out, though. Armando saying the season has been good. I'm just so excited for the future of the group. And that will be the consolation of this team, no matter how it ends, no matter what the last game of their season is that you'll be able to go into November and December and January and say, damn, we know what these guys are about now. Like, we know who they are, what they're capable of. We hope they'll add to it. You're going to lose some pieces from this year to next year, no doubt. It's just going to happen. It's part of the business. How will they complement what they know they'll be keeping? And should be a big winter in a sense of stadium plans. I'm hoping it sure seems like the end of the calendar year is a benchmark for some information we'll get. Not to mention maybe a long-term contract signing. I'm just throwing it out there. Jacob, could you say my last name? Jacob Thomas Almanza. Do you like how I sold it there? Almanza. Wait. Almanza. Is that better? Trying to work on mic technique. Do you have a preference where the A's will potentially build the new stadium, Howard Terminal or the Collie? And by the way, Glenn, when you use HT, I know that's Howard Terminal. I'm just saying that's our inside thing, right? You know what? Let's talk about that for a second. Will I be happy either way to go to a brand new ballpark? No doubt. Do the A's desperately need a new venue? Either way, no doubt. Will either one truly work out in the end? As in, like, won't be a total flop. Absolutely. They're going to do something awesome either way. I just feel like the canvas of Howard Terminal is more lucrative than the canvas at the Coliseum site. In terms of potential, in terms of future growth. Now, that's not to say, you know, in the Coliseum site's kind of a messy thing. It's clean in a sense that it's flat ground and you could start building in a couple weeks, but you have to demolish the Coliseum. You have to build a new place. While the old place is still up, you have to figure out what you're going to do with Oracle. Could you make it into a really cool concert venue? Maybe. It's what the Great Western Forum is in Los Angeles. Could you repurpose that? Probably. What else could you do at the Coliseum complex? The more you build, the less parking you're going to have. Parking seems to be a concern of so many fans, and I understand why, because if you're an A's supporter, that's all you've ever known is huge, massive, expansive parking lots. Tailgating is a thing, and tradition. Like, you're used to one thing, but I really think that you may have to prepare for something different, because no new successful big league ballpark has a huge parking lot planted right next to it, or two or three on both sides, all sides. So I don't know that you're going to see that at either Howard Terminal or the Coliseum. And I think when all is said and done, when we find out what the A's would build at the Coliseum site, parking's not going to be that much better there than it would be at Howard Terminal. What I'm saying is they would put so much work into a Howard Terminal site for parking and transportation and getting people in and out, ingress and egress. And they'd also want to build so much at the Coliseum site, it would not look like it does today at all. There would be other attractions there. There would have to be. It's the village that they keep talking about. So don't think of the Coliseum site as just, plop a new stadium in the north parking lot or the south parking lot, demolish the old Coliseum, pave it up, more parking spaces, and it's Coliseum 2.0. That's not happening. And I don't think anybody wants that necessarily to happen. Armando says, I always thought Howard Terminal would be a great site, and I know Transit would be good too. BART is really far from the Giants Stadium, and that doesn't affect their attendance. And you know what? AT&T Park used to have a decent amount of parking surrounding it on the south and western sides. Virtually none of it exists anymore. That whole area, the China and Indian Basin have all been built up so much that you're seeing Giants fans use a lot of alternative parking situations in the neighborhoods just north of the ballpark from Market Street on down. And also use public transportation. And everybody's darn right. You know, the concern about a new ballpark in Oakland, BART's not close, BART's not close, BART's not close. Okay. Look at San Francisco. BART's not close at all. Like BART station to the ballpark, like Embarcadero's the closest one. And Montgomery's not that much further. You're talking a good 20 minutes at least of a walk. And I know people take the Muni streetcar, but what's to say something like that? I'm not saying a whole new streetcar system, but what's not to say something like that wouldn't happen in Oakland? Gondola, people. Gondola. No, I know. That may not be the permanent answer either, but that would be really cool to have a gondola. I know there's was it a 6,000 person an hour, like max? Trust me, there are some brilliant minds working on this. For people like me and people like probably most of you who don't design public projects and stadiums for a living, you know, we're stumped by this. We're slumped and stumped by this. There are brilliant people working on this. They'll tell you what your options. They will spell out the options, and they can't afford to get this wrong. They will not get it wrong. Jacob, you and Bip are the best on pre and post game show. Now, what would Dave Stewart have to say about that? What would Shooty Babbitt have to say about that? In hockey season, what would Curtis Brown say about that? But no, I'm kidding. But honestly, I do appreciate you watching. Have I been to Modesto? Absolutely. Been there on many occasions, including when I used to fly for a living, a flight instructor. We would land at the Modesto airport quite a bit. Christine loves Stu. Steak girl. You love us all. We love you right back. Thank you for the support. Giants got booed off the field tonight. What happened? Should I check Twitter? Ooh, 7-6. What happened? You know what? I'm not going to take, enjoyment out of this. What a rough season over there. Hot Wheels 84. Doc Brown looks so odd without the beard. What did it go for at the auction? You ready for this? Doc Brown's beard went for $10,500. That's right. I don't know who the winning bidder was, but somebody bid $10,500 to get rid of Brownie's beard. And so it's gone. Rob, you're a Giants fan, man, and I got to give you credit. You're here bringing up the Giants over and over on my A's-centric YouTube channel. But I'm not telling. I don't want you to go anywhere. It's fine. Like, you're like you're a Giants correspondent. How about that? Rob Iman is our Giants correspondent. That is now official. And you bring up a good point. It's time for Bochy to retire. I'm a fan of Bruce Bochy. The A's guy here telling you that he's a fan of Bruce Bochy. Great initials. Yeah, great initials. Yeah. No, in all seriousness, I think he reminds me so much of Bob Melvin. Bob Melvin himself will tell you he thinks so highly of Bruce and what he's been able to accomplish. Two former catchers, guys that know how to use all their tools in terms of players and get the most out of them. I think a guy like Matt Williams as the A's third base coach is going to get a lot of looks over in San Francisco if Bruce is going to step down. And I'm going to say that respectfully, if Bruce is going to step down, because I think it should be his choice. I think that guy has stacked so many poker chips for himself. And yeah, we are now years removed from their 3-5. It's not 3-5 anymore. Yeah, not even close. It's going to be, let's see, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Ooh. It's going to be 3-9 pretty soon here. And at the start of next year, it'll be 3-10. But the point is, like, he has been so instrumental in everything over there that I think, you know, he ought to be the one to say, I can do this one more year and I want to try it, or I'm done and I want another role, and the club will give him something else to do if he wants to stay in it. But I would not be surprised if Matt Williams' name was brought up, or if he's not part of that conversation. Yeah, Pudge Rodriguez's son, I understand, is having a good season over there. That's a cool story, because I don't think he came up as a pitcher either, but he is now. Amelia, I'm excited for the day Vogt becomes a manager in a decade or so. And you know what? It's one of those things where I have this dilemma with some professional athletes. Like, I want to tell them, I'm so excited for the day you become a broadcaster or a coach in this case, or a manager. But it's hard to tell these guys that when they're in their playing career. They don't necessarily have a full grasp that it's going to end someday yet. You know what I mean? Like, it's a backhanded compliment, I think they see it as, where they're like, wait, why are we talking about the end of my playing career? So, oh, the Giants blew a 6-run lead, Rob? A 6-run lead? That's not good. Hey, you know what? I will say this. Sports are cyclical. And for the A's to kind of be back on the map of excitement, contention, everything, and the Giants to be out of it, I mean, that's the nature of sports. It's so hard to be competing or competitive or on top or near the top for many, many years. It's hard. Only a few select franchises have been able to sustain that. And you know what? On that note, like, one of them is the San Jose Sharks. I understand they get criticized for not taking it all and getting that close and early exits, but to punch your ticket every year is not as easy as it looks. Almost every year. Just one year they didn't recently. Armando, could you see Puck as an AJ Puck coming up next season? I think for AJ Puck, with the Tommy John surgery that he had to undergo late in spring, almost at the start of the year, I don't see him back until at least the All-Star break of next season. And that's assuming all goes well. And you know what? He hasn't pitched at the AAA level yet. So I'll be quite honest with you. To me, at this point, out of safety's sake too, he's probably a September call-up of next year, I think. Ryan Christensen is a name to watch for some upcoming managerial vacancies this offseason. Ryan Christensen, the skipper that's been with the Chapman, Olsen, Pinder, etc. group from single A to double A to triple A, and now in Bob Melvin's dugout. And let's touch on Bob Melvin for a second. Wait, that didn't sound right. Let's bring up Bob Melvin here for a second. Manager of the Year. Tell me an American League manager that's getting more out of his guys than Bob this season. I'll wait. And I know you're going to say, well, look at the Yankees record. Look at the Red Sox record. Look at their payroll. Ooh, Andrew Peterson. What up, bro? I appreciate you checking in, Andrew. Any Sharks you suggest we look for this coming season? Breakout years. Give me a second on that. I'll tell you who is a guy that I feel is way under the radar. Like, if we think about the next wave of Sharks, you're like Hurdle. I mean, and I say that, you know, some people feel like he's still on the left side of the hump, right? Like he hasn't got to the top of the hump yet. And maybe that's true. He was a hard worker, and he was still quite young. So that might be the case. But Timo Meyer's name's out there, obviously. I'm going to go with Marcus Sorensen. Wait, what? Why are we singing again here on my music? Let's try and skip forward here. I feel like Marcus Sorensen is very much under the radar. Undersized, yeah. Extremely skilled. I think if put on the right line, Marcus Sorensen could be a very effective player. He was pretty good in that Vegas series, if I recall. Gosh, you know what's crazy is how long ago hockey season feels like. It's partially because it was a while back, but it's also partially because, like, I am nose deep in baseball, and I have just, you know, escape's not the right word. I am done with one season, and I disconnect myself from it, and I go so deep in the other season that I kind of lose sight of a lot of things. Christine loves Sorensen's speed. I would agree, and there's a lot of upside to him. And again, I'm trying to pick a guy here to be a little out of the mold. I don't want to give you the prototypical answer. I feel like Meyer's an obvious one. Timo's an obvious one. How about Dylan DeMello? What he has shaped up to be on the blue line. State Girl. Let's go back to baseball. Jonathan Lucroy has been a huge asset for this team. I agree. 3 hits tonight. Keeping the pitching staff together. All the additions, all the change. He makes it seamless. And what's also awesome about him, of all people, is that he caught Fires in Milwaukee. Wait, was that right? Yeah. Check this out here. 11, was it 11, 12, 13? I'm just looking it up here. Yeah, 11, 12, and 13, I think, were the years. And then I think Lucroy was out of there. 13 or 14. Anyway, long story short, those guys have a lot of time together. Had a lot of time together in Milwaukee. And so with Fires being the latest new thing in the rotation, it became a lot easier when his catcher was a guy that he had already worked with. I have so much respect for Jonathan Lucroy. I feel like he's such a great team leader. How did the A's get so lucky in getting him when they did at the end of spring training? And that's just, it goes in the line of unbelievable stuff that's happened to this team in a great way all season. Andrew, both the Astros and Seattle winning tonight, no movement in the standings. I know. You know what? And I feel like some nights you just look at it and say, we did our part, chalk it up as another night closer to the end of September and the end of the regular season, right? Like, you're not only trying to gain ground. So here's what it is. I'm trying to think of the right analogy. probably like swimming, where part of you is like, all right, I can beat my opponent in the lane next to me, right or left. Or I can also just worry about getting to that wall as fast as possible to end this race. And I think the A's have to do kind of both. You know, as time passes and they are still a game and a half back of the Astros in the West, that only makes it more interesting. If the A's fall off, it's not interesting. So time passing is not as good as, is clearly not as good as catching up in the standings. But it's like literally the next best thing. How many homers do I predict KD will finish with? I'm so hesitant to throw out a number. But he is at 39 right now. I mean, it's conceivable that he'll have 40 before he even gets to Houston on Sunday night. So, yeah, I don't really want to predict that, but I think what's awesome is that, you know, he has set himself up here lately. Even if he cools down for a bit, he still has time to make a nice jolt at the end. He has set himself up to greatly surpass the 40 mark, which he's been consistently at for the prior 2 years. And I think what else, too? What's Chris Davis's average? So he's a guy that I think here, I know for 3 straight years he hit 247. Yeah, check this out. Check this out. All right, Milwaukee in 2013. KD only plays in 56 games, 153 plate appearances. Hits 279, okay? But in 2014, oops, sorry, I just kicked the camera there. We still broadcasting? Yeah, we're good. 2014, his first full big league season, hits 244. 244. Next year, 247. Year after that, 247. Year after that, last year, 247. This year, 261. But here's a guy that hit 279. Call that most of the season. Actually, no. You know what? We'll call that a third of the season. Almost a third. No, more than a third. But 274. 244, 247, 247, 247, and now 261. So the average is up. You know, at least a good handful of points, 2 handful of points. And the homers are, at 39, you can see the pace. So I'm really happy for him to have this season. And hey, he's a guy. He is a guy I would love to see extended. And on that note, look at the comment from Glenn. If they extend KD, what do you think they offer him in terms of contract years and money? Each homer he hits brings up the price. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's kind of the double-edged sword right now, isn't it? With that said, I think Chris Davis also realizes that his value in Oakland is greater than anywhere else. Now, don't get me wrong. I think, first off, I think he has solidified himself as an exceptional DH. So there goes half the teams in baseball that, the National League that maybe don't see signing him the same way that he's owed, or that they don't see his value the same way. In the American League, there's no way to me that he would be in the National League based on just what he'll be offered. But he's also already seemed to indicate that he would like to stay in Oakland. Now, when a guy comes out and says that, he's putting leverage aside for honesty and maybe the ability to spark movement in getting the conversation started in Oakland. It's a guy that I would definitely... I mean, Dave Stewart was, commenting to me about KD the other day, and he's like, this is the heartbeat of your lineup. And it's funny because I feel like we not take it for granted, but, there are some other huge bats in that lineup. Chapman's only getting better with every game, week, and series and month. And Jed Lowry's been amazing this year, and Piscotty has started to turn it on with the long ball, and Marcus can hit, and Matt Olson is a home run threat. You know, lately hasn't seemed to produce the same numbers, but you know it's there, and you know it's going to be there. But if you take KD out of that lineup, it looks and feels a lot different. Bip Roberts was saying the other day, hey, this is Cespedes Part 2. And not in the same way. Like, not in the way that, you know, Yoenis was more of a two-way player. But Yoenis struck out, I think, a lot more than KD does. And not in a sense of like apples to apples. This is Yoenis Part 2 in a sense of heart of your order, heart of your lineup. And you want to do whatever you can to keep that around this time. You don't want to lose that. Rob saying Davis is a $90 million man in Oakland. Wow. How many years? It's hard to... it's hard for me to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, that's a 3-year, you know, $39 million deal. I don't know. I think KD... The A's avoided, if I recall correctly, they avoided arbitration with him for this season. So a 1 year, I think, $10.5 million contract. But, you know, look, the guy's put up consistent numbers for power and average. So, you know, 3 years, a certain price. I don't know. Who wins a round of golf? Joe Pavelski or Steph Curry? We got to find that out, don't we, Andrew? You know, I haven't watched... I've seen Pavs play in person. Haven't seen Steph Curry play in person. I know how serious both those guys take it. It does feel like the month of September would be good for those guys to meet up and do this, right? Good weather, preseason. Wait, but both guys are local, too. Why haven't we set this up? Might have to set that up. Pavelski and Curry. 18 holes. Winner gets I don't know. It's not the green jacket. I'm just gonna pick a different color. Winner gets the I don't even, yeah, well, what would they play for? Give me some good ideas if you have them. Josh saying, how far do you think the A's will make it in the playoffs? So my theory is that crazy stuff happens to two teams every postseason in a good way. Did this camera move? Let me see here. What if I move it like that? Hang on a second. I'm all of a sudden just like not paranoid. Oh, there we go. I like the camera better right there. Didn't even have the shot framed up very well. In fact, it's still not like it's crooked. Hang on. It's a little better. By the way, how's the video and audio holding up, everybody? Everything looking okay? Because on my computer here, it's like stalling a little bit. I don't really like that. It's also super hot in here. And you know what? It is getting close for me to sign off anyway, so another 5-10 minutes. Video frame rate is slow. See, thanks, Amelia. I appreciate that. I knew something was happening here. Oh, Andrew says it's good. Christine says it's good. All right. It's weird. Oh, my voice is delayed. That's not good. Mary says it's great. All right. Now, maybe we're back. No, but I do see a delay on my voice. Maybe I've just been on here too long. Anyway. It's probably a sign that I should be done with this. There's a hiccup here and there. Technology. Little choppy. All right, well, you know what? On that note, it's been 50 minutes. It's starting to get warm in here. Can you believe in my studio, my home studio, there's no air conditioning? How often do I stream? Not enough, to be honest with you. And I'm going to be working on some more YouTube content for the fall as well, too. Maybe some podcasting again. Need to do better about that. Need to do better with that. Would you like Ioannis to retire with Oakland? I think he'd like to. I think if Bob Melvin was there, he'd like that. He'd welcome that. You know, I mean, depends on how many years away we're talking here and what Sespe can do. Thanks, Christine. Yeah, I can't wait for another Shark season too. And thanks, Josh. I will see you on pregame live. Menopause. No, it's just hot in here. It's a beautiful thing about sports. Like, as maybe, you know, what, deflated, pooped, or not pooped, but, you know, salty as I was about the finish of the Shark season. Here I am a couple months later, fully recharged. That being said, it's awesome to have a baseball season to be worried about right now. Not worried about, but excited about and, like, invested in. So, it's pretty cool. Will I be at the Coliseum on September 2nd? Let me look that up. What day is that? Is that one of the Yankees games? Because I think it is the Yankees game. Oh, no, Mariners. No. But the 3rd, 4th, and 5th will be out there for the Yankees. A's Yankees. And maybe, you know what? I don't know. They were talking about adding some more dates. You just looked up Rodney's interview about the World Series and how he wants the championship. Yeah, hey, he's 41. How many more cracks at this is he going to get? And if you've been around the A's at all lately, and I'm assuming maybe you haven't, but I have, the chemistry going on with those guys right now, unreal. Special. You'll be there for the ALS game on Labor Day. I will too. I think that's the holiday we're there. Armando, never knew I streamed, and you're glad you saw the tweet. I'm glad you saw the tweet too. That's why I did it. Yeah, you know what? I would love to do it more often too, and I think in the fall I will be doing more of this. Baseball's every day, so I don't always have the free time, but hockey season, a lot more opportunity. So, okay. Hey, thanks everybody for stopping by tonight. Be safe out there, and we'll see you tomorrow and Sunday for A's Baseball, pre- and post-game live. All right, good night.